I'm here at Pranam Yoga Shala in Omaha, Nebraska. I'm here with Nicole and Janie. They'll be demonstrating our practice today, and the focus of our work is sun salutations. It's a really rather simple sequence that you can do on your own at home. So to get started, ladies, come on down to your backs on the floor. And if it feels comfortable for you, let your legs extend long, otherwise knees can be bent, feet flat on the floor. The arms by your sides and palms facing up towards the ceiling. And the eyes can close gently if that feels comfortable to you. You'll bring your awareness to your breath. And just noticing if there's a rhythm to your breath. Noticing where the breath moves in the body as you inhale and exhale. And if you didn't detect any rhythm, you'll spend the next few moments trying to cultivate that. So perhaps matching the length of the inhale and the length of the exhale. We want a breath rhythm that you can sustain as you begin to move, that feels natural. And so ingraining that breath rhythm, that cadence, in your body, the sensation of lungs filling with air, the sensation of breath moving in through the nostrils and out through the nostrils. Now go ahead and bring your two legs together. Stretch your arms up overhead and then point your toes toward the top of the mat. Reach your fingertips away from you. Get as long as you can, like someone's tugging on your toe tips and someone else is tugging on your fingertips, allowing the back to lift away from the floor if that's what it naturally does. Continue with those deep rhythmic breaths. And then hug your knees in towards your chest. And you can take a little rock side to side on your spine if that feels good. And then we'll keep the right knee drawn into the chest. Extend your left leg long. If this feels like a lot of opening for the front of the left hip, you could always bend the left knee, put your foot flat on the floor. And then let the arms do the work here of drawing the knee in closer to your right armpit. So arms are working, pulling knee in, leg, hip relaxed. Now we'll extend the right leg up towards the ceiling. Again, you could make this a little more accessible by bending the left knee if you like. Do a little flex and point of that right foot. Take some circles, mobilizing the ankle, the foot. And then we'll keep the right shin bone vertical as you start to bring your knee in towards your armpit once again. So it's like you're still stamping your footprint on the ceiling. Bend your right knee, bring knee into armpit. Shin bone stays up. Yes, good. And then extend the leg straight up towards the ceiling again. Push your thigh bone into your hands. We'll do that a couple more times. Bend the right knee, keep the shin bone vertical, and then kick your heel up towards the ceiling, straightening the leg. Hands can move away from you. Good. One more time. Knee into the armpit. And extend your leg straight. Maybe finding a little draw in with the hands to deepen the hamstring opening. And you can let it toggle away and hug it back in once again. Good. And then you'll bend your right knee, put your foot flat on the floor. Hug left knee in towards your chest. You can extend your right leg long or keep it bent. Give the knee a good squeeze. Breathing deeply here, notice the belly expanding into the leg. Extend left leg up towards the ceiling. Take those circles, the flex and point of the foot. And then with leg straight, heel kicks up towards the ceiling. Toes pull back towards the face. You've always got the option of making the stretch deeper or a little less intense by sliding your hand up or down the leg. And now keeping the shin bone vertical, bend your left knee, move your knee in towards your armpit. The hands can help do the work of drawing the knee in. Good, straighten your left leg, kick your heel up towards the ceiling. 2 more times, knee bends in towards the armpit and straighten left leg. Last time, knee in towards the armpit and straighten. A couple more breaths like this. You can find a little micro movement in the leg or just be still. Okay, bend your left knee, put your foot on the floor, hug both knees into the chest. Again, take a little rock around on the spine. Begin to shift the rock to front to back, so hands can come behind the backs of the knees. Start to rock yourself head to tail. If you'd like to challenge yourself with balance and core strength as you rock up, don't let the feet touch the floor. Find a moment of hovering on the sitting bones and then continue to rock. We'll do a couple more rocks like that. Next time you find yourself up on the sitting bones, pause there. So we've got options. Toes can come to the floor or they can stay lifted, but you'll pull the knees in towards your chest and spread wide across your collarbones so the back is nice and long. Hands can stay on legs, or perhaps you stretch your arms forward alongside the legs, finding the boat pose. Breathing deeply here, engaging abdominal muscles, lift through the heart. Cross your ankles, come to sit, and then roll onto hands and knees. So hands will find the floor at the top of the mat. Let your index fingers be parallel to each other. The remaining fingers fan out from there. Hands right underneath the shoulders here. We'll find a cat-cow. So on your inhale breath, let your heart and your gaze go forward as your belly dips towards the mat. Exhale to round your spine and drop your head between your arms. Inhale, belly sinks towards the floor. Exhale, belly scoops up. Inhale, tailbone lifts towards the sky. Exhale, tuck the tail. Do one more just like that. We're moving with that breath rhythm. The inhale brings you to the cow, the exhale to the cat, and then we'll just find a neutral spine, so flat back. Can you shift more weight into your finger pads so that the wrists get a little bit lighter on the mat? Then curl your toes under, lift your knees and your hips, downward facing dog. Downward facing dog pose, the legs are straight unless backs of legs feel tight. If that's the case, you can have a little bend in the knees. Go ahead and pedal out your feet here. You can give the hips a shift side to side, maybe a shake of the head, yes and no. And then we settle into stillness in the downward facing dog. So push into the finger pads, let wrists be light. Reach your hips up and back towards the wall and ceiling behind you. And then let the head drop down between the elbows. Take 2 more deep breaths like this. You can always lower to the knees during this pose if it gets to be too much being on the hands. After that second exhale, knees find the mat, big toes come to touch. Send your knees out a little wider, maybe as wide as the yoga mat. Hips go back to the heels, rest in child's pose. This is a great pose to rest in at any point during the yoga practice if the breath starts to get away from you, if you need a little break, a moment of stillness. Press yourself back up onto hands and knees. Tuck the toes. Once again, find downward facing dog. And now bend into the knees. Walk your feet slowly forward to the top of the mat. Once you arrive, head hangs heavy. Wiggle the feet out so they're about hip width distance apart. And hip width distance is about the distance of 2 fists side by side in between the balls of the feet. So you can certainly keep a bend in the knees here if that feels more comfortable for the hamstrings. Grab opposite elbows with your hands. Take a sway side to side. So upper body swings left and right. The head is heavy, neck completely relaxed. Still the swinging, undo the clasp of the elbows. Making sure outer feet are parallel to the sides of the mat. You'll ground down through the whole foot. So ball of foot, heel of foot, spread your toes wide on the mat, and then unroll, come up to stand. Arms and head hang heavy as you unroll. Good. So your feet are your foundation in this mountain pose, like there are tree roots growing down into the floor through your feet. Squeeze your legs straight. Draw your navel in towards your spine. And then let your shoulders roll back and down so the tips of the shoulder blades press into the back of the heart. Reach up through the top of the head. Use an inhale breath to reach your arms wide. Your palms will meet over your head. So arms sweep all the way up to the sky. Palms come to touch. As you exhale, dive forward. Arms go wide. Again, you can take a little bend in the knees if that makes this fold a little more comfortable. Relax the neck here and inhale to lift up halfway, lengthening through your spine. Those hands can press the shins to help find that length. Exhale to fold forward, top of head drops towards the mat. Inhale, lift halfway once again, hands press to shins. Exhale, forward fold. One more just like that. Inhale, the half lift. And exhale, fold. And give the head a little shake, yes and no here. Letting go. Press down into the feet on your next inhale. Reach your arms wide. Come all the way back up to stand. Hands will draw together at your heart. Mountain pose. Inhale, reach your arms up. Palms come together. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, find that length in the spine. Exhale, fold. One more half lift. Hands come to shins as you breathe in. Exhale, fold. On your inhale, reach your arms wide. Come all the way up. Get nice and long through the sides of the waist as palms meet overhead. Exhale, hands draw into your heart. Navel draws into spine. Inhale to reach your arms up. And exhale to fold. Inhale, lift halfway. And exhale, fold. Give that head a little shake again here. We'll plant the hands on the mat, shoulder width apart. So index fingers parallel. Once again, bend the knees as much as you need to. Step your feet back to downward facing dog. So in the downward facing dog, ideally the body is like an A-frame shape. So wrists, shoulders, and hips are all in a straight line. Legs straight if that feels okay for the hamstrings. Press your thigh bones back towards the wall behind you. Engage the muscles of the belly and begin to shift forward to plank pose. Plank pose is the top of a push-up position. Legs stay turned on here, thigh bones pressing up towards the ceiling now, and navel draws into the spine. If this feels like a bit much, you could always lower knees down to the mat and keep a straight line from head to shoulders to knees. Take one more breath like this, breathing deeply into the belly. And now please lower your knees down to the mat. Keep that plank shape in the body, so straight line, shoulders, hips, and knees. Begin to bend your elbows. Let them graze the sides of the waist as you lower all the way down to the floor. Untuck your toes now. Toenails touching the mat. As you inhale, press into the hands, begin to peel the shoulders and the chest away from the mat for the cobra pose. Lower back down to the floor, nose can tap the mat. Reach back through the tips of the toes so legs are long and strong. Inhale, lift up to the cobra pose. Roll your shoulders down away from your ears. Exhale, lower to the mat. Inhale to the cobra pose. And exhale, lower down. Press yourself up to hands and knees. And from here, tuck the toes, send the hips back, downward facing dog. We'll take 3 good breaths here in downward facing dog. So returning to that rhythmic breath you established while lying on the floor. If it's difficult to find, if the breath has gotten shallow, you could always rest in child's pose instead of the downward facing dog. And after that third exhale, feet will walk to the top of the mat. Take several steps to get there, bending the knees as much as needed. On your next inhale, hands press to shins, lift up halfway. And exhale, fold forward. Inhale, arms go wide as you rise up. Exhale, draw your hands together at your heart. Take a moment here in the mountain pose. Arms can hang by your sides. And closing the eyes, notice your breath. And so rather than just standing here, make your standing intentional. Fan out the toes, firm the legs. Have a bit of engagement in the belly. On your next in-breath, sweep your arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale to lift up halfway. And exhale, plant your hands at the top of the mat, step back to downward facing dog. Use your next inhale breath to come forward to the plank pose, legs nice and strong, belly lifting. Sense that the body is in a straight line from top of head down to the heels. Lower your knees down to the mat. Keep the plank shape from shoulders to knees. Take an inhale breath here. And as you exhale, bend your elbows, slowly lowering down to the belly. Can you land your whole body at once on the floor? Untuck toes. Stretch back through the toe tips so legs are turned on. Maybe knees might even lift off of the mat as you inhale to the cobra pose. Hug your elbows in towards your sides. Drop the tops of the shoulders away from the ears and lower down to the floor. We'll do one more cobra pose, inhaling to lift, maybe finding one more rib lifting off of the floor, and exhale to lower. Tuck your toes under, lift your hips. You can move through hands and knees, press back to downward facing dog. Take 4 deep breaths here in downward facing dog, knowing that child's pose is always an option. Lower to the shins, rest on the floor. How is that rhythmic breath? And take a little bend in your knees, walk your feet forward to meet your hands. On the in-breath, lift up halfway, lengthening through your spine. And exhale to fold forward. Planting the feet firmly on the mat, inhale to rise up, reach your arms wide. Heart lifts as the thumbs draw in towards the chest. Arms come down by your sides. Use your next in-breath to reach your arms up. And exhale to dive forward. Inhale to lift halfway. And exhale, fold. Plant your hands, bend your knees, step, step back, downward facing dog. And shift more weight into the pads of the fingers, especially if the wrists are starting to feel tired. With strong legs, inhale forward to the plank pose. Push the floor away with your hands so you can spread the space between your shoulder blades, belly lifting strongly. Keep that lift in the belly as you lower knees down to the mat. Bend your elbows, make your way down to the floor. Untuck your toes and inhale to the cobra pose. Elbows hug in, shoulders roll back and down. Exhale to lower. Press up to hands and knees. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. And one more deep breath right here. At the bottom of the exhale breath, step your right foot forward between your hands. Spin your left heel down to the mat so the toes will turn out on a diagonal, and keeping a deep bend in the right knee, sweep your arms up to warrior two. So that left arm will windmill around behind you. Right arm reaches forward, gaze goes to the right fingertips, and spread wide across your collarbones, across your wingspan here. Now place your right elbow on your thigh, stretch your left arm up towards the sky, side angle pose. You can use that press of the elbow on the thigh to lengthen through the inner thigh, making sure the knee points straight ahead over the middle toe. And now take both hands down to the mat. Use the strength of the belly to pick up your right foot, step it back, downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward between your hands. Spinning right heel down with a deep bend in the left knee. Sweep the arms up, warrior two. Stretching long through fingertips, soften your shoulders away from your ears. Place the left elbow on the thigh, right arm stretches up, side angle pose. Outer edge of right foot presses down into the mat, and from there you lengthen through the outer seam of the leg all the way up to the right fingertips. One more breath here. Bring two hands down to frame the left foot. Step back to downward facing dog. Two deep breaths like this. At the bottom of that second exhale, lower your knees down to the mat, rest in child's pose. Now's a good time to check in with the wrists, especially if you're not used to spending so much time on your hands. You might take some circles with your wrists, or wrap the fingers of one hand around the opposite wrist. Come on back up to hands and knees and just swing the legs around in front of you. Come onto your back. Knees draw in towards your chest. Give them a little hug with the arms, a little rock around on the spine once again. Release the legs, extend them long on the mat. Feet can go nice and wide, maybe heels towards the edges of the mat. Give your legs a little shake, make sure they're not holding on anymore. And then with your palms facing up towards the ceiling, let the skin of the hands soften. Eyes closed. And now we simply breathe. So no more regulating the breath, no more measuring. Allow the body to rest. Allow the mind to rest. And now you can bring a little wiggle into your fingers and toes. Bend your knees. And roll slowly to your right side. Use the strength of your arms to press yourself up to sit. And once you find that seat, lengthen up through your spine. Lift your heart center and bring your palms together in front of your heart. At the end of our yoga practice, we say namaste, which means the light in me bows to the light in you. Thank you so much for practicing. Namaste.